All right, welcome to class 4. In this week's class, we're going to focus on the primary sound field, which is levels and panning. So we want to stage this all out. And what we're going to start with is a little primer on depth and width. So some of this is material that we've covered in the previous weeks or last week, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth into that. Then we're going to do some listening exercise. This is important just for tuning your hearing. Be aware that we don't hear the same way throughout the day. And some days it'll lean a little bit darker, some days a little bit brighter. But it will even out once you sort of put your attention and focus onto it. So listening exercises as a primer. This is just a little exercise that I always do just to kind of get a tuning set idea of like where I'm at. So when I listen to something, it's like, oh wow, everything sounds bright before I even listen to what I've done, maybe from the previous night's work, because I may listen to that, make all kinds of crazy changes, only to realize that everything was sounding bright. Whereas, and then it helps to make you less obsessive at some point about your own mixes when you realize, yeah, sometimes I listen to this and this other mix, it sounds like crap. And then, after like about 10, few minutes of listening, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, now I kind of get it. Like your brain sort of adapts to it and resets itself. It's just the way our senses work. Yeah, so we got that, and then we'll get right into, oops, wrong direction. Then we'll get into a track analysis. So we have to go through the tracks, talk about what the role of each of them is in the song, because that's an important thing to analyze and figure out. So when you set the structure of the song, you know what is primarily driving it, what the foundational tracks are, which tracks come in only in certain sections like the chorus, and where do you mix them, because that makes the decisions about where you pan things. Leave a space so when that instrument comes in the chorus, it adds whatever it's meant to add. Power if it's a heavy guitar, or depth if it's like a string part, or air, if it's a high strings or something. Whatever it is, leave the space for it. And so, starting with the primary track sort of sets the stage, and then you can place elements anywhere in between and around. So we'll do that, and then we'll actually get into the dirty work. So this will be the longest portion of it. More than half of the class will be just on the levels and panning, and going through all the details, the mindset, and the whole process of working with the headphone software as well, so that we integrate that with each step along the way. Notice the changes and how one monitoring method affects the other, finding the balances between the two, so that we can set a good basic course for everything, a good basic foundation. So when we do the equalization work, we're not over equalizing to compensate for bad decisions in the positioning of the elements of the mix. So there you have it, class 4, and let's have at it. Waste no more time. Let's get right to it and go through a little bit of the sound field stuff just as a primer for the levels and panning.